All right, it is time for Friday Reads. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. In my Friday Reads videos, I generally share how my reading has been going, including what I've finished, what I've started, and anything interesting that I'm carrying over week to week. I think I actually do have some finishes, I have some carryover. There is always carryover. I don't know if I have any starts that I haven't finished. Most of them I finished already, which is great. Anyway, I'll do the best that I can. I'll talk about some stuff I read. That's what we're going to do this week. And I missed last week, so I apologize for that. I just wasn't up to filming on the day that I had available to film. I try and have some other videos in the roster to release in case that happens, but I haven't actually filmed those yet. I'm out. That's not true. I'm out. I have a bunch of TV related ones and one more film one, but I forgot to edit the film one. It's just been a bit of a time. But I did release the TV one this week, and thank you to everyone who's been watching the TV and film related videos. I know they're not for everyone, and I totally understand that, and you know, your time is yours and you get to choose how you use it, and if you're not interested in those, that's totally fine, but thank you to everyone who has. I really had a lot of fun, in particular filming the one about action movies, and I have the second part ready to go. I've been really enjoying action movies recently too, so that's been really fun. And I always love talking about TV. Oh, I love talking about TV. Anyway, but today we're talking about books, so I'm going to stay on track. So I missed last week, but generally what I have been working towards is to be reading for Berna's Bookish Bingo. Ooh, that's got very... Can we get a good angle? That's not bad. So Berna's Bookish Bingo, which is hosted by Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures. It's a month-long readathon with a bingo card with 8 prompts to complete. I'm so excited. Or I guess you could go for a bingo. You could go for 3 or the corners or the necks, you know, as it is a bingo. I'm going for a blackout, and I actually have created my spread in my reading journal. I was so happy to do this, and I am thrilled with how it turned out. So what I decided to do, and this idea sort of came along when I was doing my Grinch-a-thon one. So what I generally do with readathons and anything that I call in like my adventure journal is that I draw something and then leave it open, and then when I complete it, I color it in. So for this one, I got all but that random pieces of paper. I got all but this hearts mug done. I didn't read the one for the hearts mug for Grinch-a-thon, but everything else I completed. So for this one, I have actually finished a whole bunch of stuff. I just haven't written them in yet. But what I did was, for each box, I wrote what it was on the outside so I could put the image on the inside. And so we have reread, animal on the cover, 3 or 9, favorite author, one of Berna's favorite genres, historical, romance, and mystery. Second in a series, less than 100 pages, beach read. That was the hardest. As someone who's now devoted to non-seasonal reading, I had some challenge with that, but I found something. And then with the letters Berna in the cover. So I actually have completed, I'm actually doing really well. I've completed 7 out of 9. Yay! I'm so excited. So hopefully this weekend I will get to spend some time in here and draw in and color in the ones I've completed. But just to share some of the ones that I've completed, we have Howliday Inn. This is by James Howe. And I'll leave the illustrator down below. It's a different illustrator than the first book. This is the sequel to Bunnicula, which was what I read during the summer. It's a kid's book, and this is, what did I read it for? Second in a series? Second in a series. So it's the second in the Bunnicula series. It could also be animal on the cover, but I picked something else for that. So this one continues with the characters of Harold and Chester, who are the family pets, and the family is going on vacation, and they have decided to board the pets. Harold does not know what that means. Chester does know what that means, and they're both terrified. So they get boarded, and then the adventure is about where they are boarded. This one is much more of a mystery. I actually noticed on Goodreads it was tagged as a mystery, and it is set up as a mystery. Something happens, and they start to investigate and ask questions and be curious and stuff like that. It is from Harold's perspective, who is the dog, and you know, he's got like some wandering attention, and you know, it's very cute. But I have to say I did not enjoy this one as much as the first one. Mostly because I was shocked and saddened that this one actually had gender crap in it. I felt like in the first book there isn't really female characters other than the mom, but in this one there's a weird love triangle situation, and of like I don't know if it's a husband-wife dog couple or there's like a dog couple, and then there's like the other woman who apparently everyone assumes is trying to lure the guy away, and I'm just like, why is this dynamic in a kid's book? Like, what does that say? And then also there was one term that I was shocked that was used to describe the other woman, which was a hussy. And I'm like, and Harold says it under his breath, and I'm like, I actually do not think that that term is appropriate for a kid's book, and I'm not the word police, but I just feel like, what are you saying? Especially when, like, that sort of most, like, the female characters really are, you know, like, the three that end up being seen again and again and again. Anyway, whereas, you know, Harold is trying to find out this mystery. Chester, who is the cat, is very wise, reads books, goes around, talks to people, finds out information. Then they have one escape artist cat, basically, who's really hyperactive and just runs around the entire establishment. And then there's a dog who pretty much agrees with everything and just like is curious and answers everything very directly and stuff like that. So like all of the other dogs have personalities, and then all of the female dogs are like the three, you know. Anyway, so I was like, this is kind of annoying. And then like when they use that term, I was just like, am I off the mark here? Like, is that just for me? Like, it's not a swear word or something like that, but it's a very judgmental gender-based term that does not feel appropriate to a kid's book to me. Anyway, I did finish it, so I got it for second in the series. I am a little unsure now about continuing the series. And this was written in the 80s, but it wasn't like the 60s, I think. Anyway, so I'm a little not sure if I want to continue the series. I think the next one's called like The Celery Stalks at Midnight or something. They're all available on Scribd. They are illustrated. I like the illustrations. So I'm not sure what to do, but I did finish it. So I just couldn't believe that. I was just like, really? Really? Anyway, a little bit better on the gender dynamics is The Science of Surfing. This is a Surfside Girl's Guide to the Ocean by Dwinell. And this is a graphic novel about surfing. It's actually nonfiction about surfing. And so I picked this for my beach read because surfing, you know, is in the water. The water is right by the beach. I thought that would be a good pick. This one, I think it was a bonus borrow for Hoopla. They have tons of bonus borrows this month. And so check that out if you have Hoopla. And I don't know, I'll leave a link down below, but I don't know if it works, you know, in all Hooplas because people have access to different catalogs depending on your library. Anyway, so this was a nonfiction graphic novel about surfing. They talked about like how surfing works, surfing safety, beach, water, aquatic life, you know, environmentalism. Like, it was awesome. I loved it very, very much. And you sort of follow these two girls through, they tell you all of this stuff about surfing. Now, it sounds like Surfside Girls is a comics or graphic novel series. There are two. One looks like a mystery, one looks a little more adventuring, but this one's nonfiction. So I just ended up picking it because I thought it would be a good fit for the beach read. I ended up loving it. So it was wonderful. It's nice when that works out, when it was just like random pick, you know, on Hoopla. I was like, that looks good. It doesn't always work out, but this time it worked out. And that series, I do plan on reading the first one. I think they are kids' books. It is very upbeat and just positive, and I really, really enjoyed it. So those are two that I finished for the bingo. I do have two that I really would love to finish, like before the end of the month for sure, but sort of sooner if possible. And that includes these I think I've talked about before. I've definitely talked about The Last Guardian before by Jeff Grubb. This is the third in the Warcraft series that I'm reading. So it will work for 3 or 9 for Berna's Bookish bingo. And it is a fantasy series. It is a spin-off or set in the world of Warcraft. And it's hilarious because I actually was doing a quest the other day, or I was doing an instance. I was running a dungeon, and I was like, hey, I'm like, he's the character. In this book, he's actually not the protagonist, but he's another character in the book. And I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing that. It's really hilarious to sort of have the story from the game and the story in the book sort of collide, because I think they actually are around the same time, because this is sort of set, I think, in lead up to the Burning Crusade expansion. And I was doing a dungeon that had an encounter that was around what happens when the Burning Crusade starts. So anyway, that was funny. But this one I have not made tons of progress on. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It's not a super long book. I haven't been coming to it very often. I think I'm about halfway through, so I think I have about 130 pages left. I really would like to make consistent progress and finish this by the end of the month for sure, but before the end of the month would be better. That would feel really good. And then I also only just started A Big Surprise for Valentine's Day by Jackie Lau. This is the 4th in the Howliday with the Wongs novella series of contemporary romances. This one I am reading for one of Berna's favorite genres because it is romance, and I'm really enjoying it. It's sort of it feels like it's not a second chance romance, but it's a sort of I've read like the first chapter in the prologue, but it's like meeting someone that two people meet each other that knew each other long ago. Now they're adults and they're looking for a little fun, and you know, they knew each other, I can't even remember when, high school, I guess. So that's all I've read so far. I am enjoying it. I've loved all the other books in the series. They're really fun, short, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this one goes. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I also did continue on the Adventures in Wild Space series for the Star Wars kids books, and I'm reading The Darkness. This one is the 4th, I think, out of 6. There was also a prequel, so it's really 7, but this one, I think, for me, so now I'm past the halfway point because I read 3 plus a prequel, and I think I would just like to keep on going. They're very, like, they're kids' books. They're light adventure in space, science fiction. They're very Star Wars-y. There's a lot of things that happen in a lot of Star Wars, films and series, but I'm just enjoying it. It's a very easy read, so it was nice to come back to this, because I almost didn't, and then I'm like, no, they're easy reads. I enjoy them. And right now that's working for me, and I haven't been going to The Last Guardian, which is weird because I really enjoy it. I think it might simply be that the chapters for this one are longer than the last one, and I prefer shorter chapters because I like getting to the end of the chapter. So I think that might be what's going on. So I should just set myself, 10 pages and then a day, and then just be okay if that's not the end of the chapter. Oh, I have trouble with that. I'm not so good at that. Anyway, and those are the last 2 that I need to finish, is the Valentine's Day one and the Last Guardian. Those will be my last 2 for Berna's Bookish Bingo, and I really want to finish. So in terms of what I am carrying over, I am, surprise, surprise, still reading Les Miserables, but I have started the final section. Look, it's not the creepy whatever it was. I actually quite like this cover, although I cut it a bit short. Whoops. So what are the end papers? Oh, that looks potentially upside down. Well, maybe not. Is it a beach? Is this a beach read? No, Les Mis is not a beach read. So I actually have the back cover here. I think that's the innkeeper, character. And I'm not tons of the way through, just started it. But I think I have about, 235 pages left. So I'm really on, 225 pages left. So I'm really on the home stretch here. I'm not rushing it. I'm hoping to finish by Halloween or the end of the year. And I'm not loving this section, to be honest. And the end of the 4th section and the beginning of the 5th section just sort of, I am not discerning it just is the next page. It wasn't, usually it's a bit of a shift. So it doesn't matter, really, because I'm in it, and I'm gonna finish it. But I'm not loving this section, and, that's... And when you're at page 1078, it's kind of like, I don't want to be not loving this section, but it's fine. I will get there. I'm sure it'll all come together in the end. I know the musical very well, so I mostly know where it's going. I will say, though, there was a confusing bit in the end of the 4th section. There was something that happened, and there was a reference to someone that I'm like, who is that? And this has one of those things that one of my least favorite things is people being referred to by multiple names. Now, in this instance, it does make sense why someone is referred to by multiple names, but there was one moment where I was pretty certain they said something about someone, and that had their action or character do whatever, and I'm like, I know where the story is going, so that can't be possible. So that's a bit of a missing link to me, and that's actually the first time in this book that's happened, that I felt like I read something that didn't feel logical in terms of the story lining up, and so that was a big surprise. There's some stuff that I don't agree with in here, especially with gender dynamics, but it is from, gosh, when is it from? I don't even know if it'll be in this. Okay, maybe just the time period. I can't remember. Is it this edition? First published in French, 1862. Okay, so, 162 years, I think. So it's been a while. But so I don't expect a book that's over 150 years old to have gender dynamics that I agree with. It would be great, and I'm sure there's some, but it's not this one. It's not horrible. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, I'm on the home stretch. I'm going to keep going. I'm almost at goal for the month, which is great. I have 8 more pages this week, and then about 25 next week, which, and then we'll just keep on going. I did also do my reread of The Slippery Slope by Lemony Snicket, the 10th book in the series of Unfortunate Events. This is my reread for Berna's Bookish Bingo, and is the buddy read with Izzy and Kate Kelly. And the live show is this upcoming, I can't remember. It's next week. I will put it in the description. We did shift it ahead 1 week. So, so that's when it will be. I'm looking forward to talking about it. I can't wait to hear what Kate Kelly thought about it. I can't wait. I really enjoyed rereading it. It's one of my favorite, top 3 probably of the series of 13 books. And I think I'm just going to stick to it with the books that I am working on. I really want to finish the Valentine's Day one and the WoW one, and the Star Wars one, which won't be hard. They just take a couple nights of, they're like 6 to 8 chapters, and it's very nice pace. I like it. I like it. And I guess probably given it's getting to the end of the month, my goal should be not to start anything that I can't finish. I didn't mention, I have returned all of my library books. I did decide to return them a bit earlier than expected. I just had a spidey sense feeling that that would be a good idea, which turned out to be the case. So everything has gone back. There are 3 titles that I have on my currently reading that I haven't quite decided what to do. One I marked as unread. There's another that I'm just going to buy on Kindle. And then there's 3 that I'm a little not sure if I'm just going to wait until next year. The collection of Ray Bradbury plays was the one that I was really disappointed I wasn't able to finish in time, but I still had like 70 pages left in 2 days, and I was like, even for a play, like it was more than one play. That was what the problem was. And I haven't been reading as much. So this probably feels like a lot, but honestly, it's like a couple of graphic novels and a couple of kids' books. And, even what I'm working on is 250-page fantasy novel and a 100-page romance novella, which is fine. All reading counts. And, but I just haven't been reading as much. My consistency has definitely been with sticking with Les Miserables, as well as finishing, the series of or The Slippery Slope, and so I'm really happy that I've been able to be consistent with that, and I have to reach out to Anita and check in and see how our buddy read is going, and that is something that I will be doing, and she's back to doing videos, which is very, very exciting. I'll leave a link to her most recent video up above for you to check out. And so we'll probably start that back up soon, I think, from what my interpretation of what she said in one of her videos. It's so funny how that ends up happening. Anyway, I think I just kind of embrace sort of summerness a little bit. And so that sometimes meant doing stuff other than reading. And that sometimes felt if I didn't feel like reading, I did something else or whatever. But I'm trying to just not be too pressury. I have no idea what my strategy, if any, I will have for September. I do have on my spreadsheet September, and I have a bunch of stuff. So if I don't feel strongly one way or the other, I'll just go with whatever I put on my spreadsheet. I have my things I do consistently or consistently. But I don't know. The returning stuff before expected, and I had so many library books out, and I went through, this is a cycle. I know it's a cycle. It happens every year. I get super excited. I get some books, I read them. I get more books, I read them. I get a lot more. I get like, whoa, I can't read all of this, which I don't feel any pressure to do with the library. But then it just sort of hits a tipping point with, whoa, and then just return all the books. And so I have done that. But there are, as I mentioned, there are 3 that I started but didn't finish, and getting them from the library is really the only way I can get them. So I don't know. I actually don't feel too much pressure in terms of making a decision on those. But the one that gets me is the mammals one. Was it Dorsley Kinsley? Dorset Kinsley? That the DK one? Ah, man. I wish I could get that. I would buy that. I looked on Amazon, but there was only one. There was a third-party seller selling it, and they didn't have the best rating. And their rating was even stuff like some of the comments were, I got something that wasn't what I ordered. I'm like, well, that's a little different than, comments like, I don't know, whatever. There's often comments like, I didn't get in time for Christmas. I'm like, well, like that's sort of more of a shipping. And, it could be that expectations weren't met. It could be that it wasn't ordered early enough. It's not about the product, it's about the process. Anyway, I am rambling at this point. So anyway, library books are returned. I have a plan for what I'm going to do. I want to finish those 2 books for the end of the month. We'll see next week how I did, because I probably will film as the month is wrapping up. Let me know how your August went. Did you sort of embrace some more summer, energy? I think I sort of did that this August. I decided to do some things other than reading. Shock. I'll always be reading, but sometimes it's good to take an opportunity or create an opportunity, and especially if it's a way to enjoy the season. So I did do that a few times, and that's totally fine. I've still read tons of stuff, and I will read tons of stuff. And so there you go. There is my very rambly Friday reads, and hopefully I'll be back on track next week. And I do, as I think I mentioned, I'm hoping to film some other bookish related content just in case I can't make every week, because sometimes that happens. it's just life, and we'll see how things go. So I hope you have a good weekend ahead and a great last week of the month. All right, thank you so much for watching. I will be back soon with another video. Take care.